So here we are, a sight to behold, not a weight in hand. We are just grinding on the treadmill. So I'm going to start not necessarily like wholesale changing the way I train, but number one, my weightlifting side of things, I'm on a bro split. So what a bro split is you have 7 days in a week. You're going to have 2 rest days from weightlifting. And then you're going to have 5 days where you're going to focus on like a singular body part. So kind of as an example, Sundays is my chest and bicep days. Mondays is my back day. Tuesdays is glute and hamstring day. Man, I am not a fan of glute hamstring day. And I know some people, that's their favorite. Some people, they just, for whatever reason, love glute and hamstrings. But partially, I'm a guy, that's not the most exciting thing in the world to be training glutes and hamstrings. But anyways, I don't want to ramble too long. Tuesday is glute and hamstring day. And then like Wednesday, Thursday, it kind of just depends what's going on in my life. So I'm really consistent Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. If I've got like something going on, I'll add a rest day Wednesday. But Thursday, shoulders and triceps. And then Friday or Saturday, again, depending on life and all that, will be my quads day. So what am I changing? I'm going to start doing dedicated cardio 2 to 3 times a week. I'm just easing into this cut. I'm going on a cut right now. I weighed in this morning. I think I was at 207.9. So I'm always going to use like super specific numbers. I grew up wrestling and cutting a lot of weight in high school for wrestling. So I coach wrestling. So when I talk weight, I'm usually like really, really specific, like point whatever. So anyways, the end goal on this cut will be 190 to 185. I'm really counting my macros, counting my calories. There is a whole list of things you all can find online. I'm sure you don't want to hear me sit here and ramble on about what I eat every day and macros, all that fun stuff. There may be some people that want to hear it, but I can give a long, detailed list of what I do. But we're changing it up just a little bit. 5 days of lifting, 2 to 4 days, probably 3, but 2 to 4 days of dedicated cardio for 30 to 45 minutes, probably closer to 30 early on. And then if I had some advice to give people that are really looking to change stuff, really looking to change their physique, their mindset, their discipline. Look, you're not going to change everything at once. You're not going to move a mountain with just a shovel, right? So brings me back to a quote my parents used to tell me when I'd get overwhelmed with stuff. The only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So how I'm going to tie this in is if you're wanting to make a diet change, a lifting change, a cardio change, you want to change all this stuff, count your calories, count your macros, go to bed on time, limit yourself on social media. That's going to be tough all at once. So I've kind of honestly, these past probably 4 years, just slowly introduced stuff. I know I've talked about it before, but my basement is a perfect example of that. When I first started out, I had these rusty 1980s style barbells and dumbbells my dad got for me when I was in middle school, which was back in like 06, 07. And when I got those were probably 20 to 30 years old at the time. So like they're the green weights that are like clamped together and they have sand in the middle. When I was in middle school, I remember I just do like forearm curls and bicep curls. I had like a whole workout plan for me when I was in middle school. So I wanted to get better at football. I wanted to get better at wrestling. So I guess my passion for that kind of stuff started even back then. But when I started doing this as an adult 4 years ago, I started out with that same dumbbell, with that same barbell. It's honestly been kind of cool transition to having all of this and just slowly building into it. If I would have made all these lifestyle changes all at once, there is no way I could have stuck to it. That's just my personality. That's just what works for me. So if you are passionate about this, or if you kind of have that urge to change things in your life, number one, that's good. But number two, if you're like me, you'll get really passionate about something really quick, and then a couple days later, you'll be like, I don't want to wake up at 4:30. I don't want to just eat chicken. I don't want to cut out pop. I don't want to cut out drinking. You have to do it all over time. Introduce a little something. Introduce a little something. Introduce a little something. So for me, it started out with that ghetto 1980s barbell and dumbbell, and I would just picked 4 days to come downstairs before work, and I would just get a quick workout in. I'm talking like 45 minutes, right? And I didn't have pre-workout. I didn't have anything. It was just me, Sammy, and the concrete down here. And I just told myself, if I can stick to this for 1 month, waking up 4 times a week, waking up early, then I'll buy myself a power rack. And I got that from RitFit. So I stuck with it for a month. I bought that power rack. And then that's how it just kind of evolved. Like I would give myself X amount of time. If I can prove to myself that I can be disciplined and I can stay to this thing, then I'll buy something else. So I actually bought this bike right here when I was living in Junction City and working in Harrington. I just started out with that, and I couldn't stick with it because that's not my cup of tea. I can't just sit on a bike for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Like, that's not who I am. So there was probably like a period of 2 years where that's all I had, and I wouldn't use it. Now, as I've built discipline over time, I have several conditioning type things. I have this treadmill, I have the bike, you're going to see my jump rope, you're going to see the little boxing stand I have. But these are all things I have worked up to. It wasn't overnight. I had to prove to myself that I was going to be disciplined and actually freaking commit to something and not just fly by the seat of my pants. Not to mention, there's no way I could afford all of this in one blow. Everything you see in my basement has happened over a 4 year period of time. Some people could afford to do it, like all in one fell swoop, and others, like myself, it's taken time. So if you're like me, you're kind of like a meathead, all you want to do is just lift and get jacked, great, start out with that. Go to Walmart. This is kind of my advice. If you're just starting out working out and you're kind of testing the waters, I guess, you don't want to pay for a full gym membership, go to Walmart, buy, if you can afford this, buy one kettlebell that's probably anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds. You can do several cardio workouts with a kettlebell. You can do strength training. And then buy one set of heavy dumbbells and one set of light dumbbells. Those three things alone, heavy dumbbells, light dumbbells, and a kettlebell, can get you started for months. For months, you can start strength training and seeing how disciplined you're going to be with something. And once you do that, then you can start introducing maybe some nutrition. Or if you want to do the opposite, I started with the physical part because I'm a physical person. I got to be doing stuff. I got to stay busy. I got to keep my mind busy. So I started out with working out. Best decision I ever did. And I can't emphasize that enough. Like, I'm increasing the incline here. I can't emphasize that enough. Like, too many people just try to, I think like the New Year's resolution people. I have never had a New Year's resolution. To be quite honest with you, I think it's pretty stupid. And that's just kind of I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know, just growing up, we never did that stuff. If we said we were going to do it, we started that day. We weren't going to wait till the next Monday. We weren't going to wait until 2027. Just freaking do it. I can't tell you how many times people say, I'm going to set a resolution, I'm going to start at X date. The only time to start is right now. Plain and simple. If you aren't going to start right now, you aren't going to stick with it. I hate to tell you. So if you're waiting for a day, a year to start something, you're not going to start it. You will not stick with it. No way. If you really want something to change, you're going to start right now. If your goal is to lose weight, you start right now. If your goal is to build muscle, you start right now. Why would you wait another day? Why would you wait a year? Why would you wait for January 1st? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. All these life changes I made, I remember the exact moment when I decided I'm going to start working out serious again as an adult. December 27th, 2022. I was home for Christmas. I was sitting in the living room at my parents' house, and I just started making a list, like the notes page on your phone. I just started making workouts, and I dated it December 27th, 2022. I wasn't going to wait for New Year's Day. I wasn't going to wait for anything. So as soon as I made that list, I started working out that night, and it was completely impromptu. I was out of town. I didn't have dedicated work clothes. I was tired of looking the way that I looked. And when you can get to that point in your life, discipline and motivation takes care of itself. But I want to reiterate, when I made that decision that night, right then and there, it was working out. That's when I committed to the 4 days a week, waking up early. It wasn't, I'm going to cut out pop, I'm going to get all my nutrition in line, I'm going to do the X amount of calories, X amount of protein, I'm going to work out, I'm going to buy all this stuff. If I would have done that, I wouldn't have made it to middle of January. There's no way. It's super important to have grace for yourself early on, especially if you're just starting out. If you've never been a person that's been overly active, you're not going to change your life in an instant. That's enough of my rant and TED Talk. So what I'm doing today, I started out with a 10-minute treadmill at moderate pace. As you can see, I'm already winded and broke a sweat. You don't have to wear a hoodie. I just do it just because it makes me sweat and I feel like I'm working harder. But I'm at an incline on treadmill for 10 minutes. I'm going to transition to 5 1-minute rounds on my boxing bag. And again, this is me starting out. This is day one right here. This is the first 10 minutes of this change. I had already been working up to my nutrition. So the nutrition part of it isn't a huge change. I just tweaked it a little bit. Gave myself a new set of rules, lowered my caloric intake. But anyways, I'm going to transition to 5 minutes on the bag for boxing. I'm not a boxer. I don't try to be. I don't pretend to be. So we don't need to critique my boxing form. I literally do it because that's the only way I can get myself to do cardio. Once I get done with the 5 rounds on the bag, I'm going to transition to a little bit more of a HIIT style workout, high intensity interval training. I'm going to go 1 minute on the bike and 1 minute with jumping rope, because if I went any longer on any one of those, I couldn't do it. There's no way. My ADHD brain could not handle just sitting on a bike for 10 minutes at a time. So treadmill, boxing, HIIT workout with the bike, and the jump rope.